Yeah, so that was the first day. And then that night, we went out. They woke us up and they were like, you know, yalla yalla, zuzu, like hurry up, you know, like go right now. And I moved too fast and I ended up leaving a magazine for the sniper rifle. Because I took the bad one. I meant to leave the bad one because it was junk anyway and take the good one, but I left a good one there. And I took the bad one. And so we scrambled and we got up and we started moving in a line behind the bulldozer, behind the Humvee, going down the road. And like right then, I think it was just the Humvee in front of us. But for a while, there was no vehicle. But like we were following the trail that they had carved out and cleared with the bulldozer and the Humvee, clearing for mines. But we were, you know, moving closer to where it sounded like the intense fighting was, even at night. So we left the building, we turned left and went down the trail, down the road, and then we made a right, going back towards the enemy slightly, like towards the front of the right angle corner. And then as we turned around that corner, I saw an explosion off to our right between some trees, and some shrapnel went past us, but nobody got hurt from that I saw. And I think...
Hang on, was this the one where you said to me, or should we take a knee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like the shrapnel went past us and like overhead, and I was like...
I remember the mortar was close.
So that was a mortar? Because I thought it might have been a mine or a mortar, but it was too far away to be a mine, really.
Yeah, if it was a mine, why would it have been there?
Yeah. Unless it was like one of those weird infrared things, but like... There was already people over there, so, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so that was probably a mortar. Like, they probably saw us moving, and then, like, because there was a lot of people walking.
Yeah. And my feeling was that they would have spotted us because that group was not maintaining noise and light discipline. So,
So then, from that point, right after that, like, within a few minutes, like, the line had stopped moving, and then we turned left again to continue down the line of the front, and the guy had gone towards the entrance of that building and fucked with something there, and like there was an explosion, and he was screaming and his leg was mangled.
Yeah.
And then the Humvee came up really fast. The Humvee went off the trail even and went across like an area that wasn't clear, and pulled up, and they loaded him up, and then took him away. And the whole time I was thinking like, okay, don't stare at him. Like, don't stare at the injury because it's going to stress you out and freak you out, and just try to stay calm and stay cool. And the whole time we were on the front, I was playing with my meditation beads, because I have them in, like, the pouch hanging around my neck, so I can, like, put them away easy, but I can reach them easy if I'm stressed out and we're not busy fighting or working. So I was, like, I had my hand on those, and that helped me, like, not freak out. And then they told us to go into the building, and we were kind of like, And we went in there, and then we came back out again because they were like, this isn't clear. You know, there's more mines in there, and we were like, thanks a lot. And then we continued down that road, which was still to the left of our previous position. So we continued down the road, and then it felt like we were more off-road, but still on the track of the bulldozer and the Humvees that had cleared the road for us. So we were still following the vehicles, but... we were, like, just on foot. There was no vehicles around us right there. We went past a really tall, nice building with a courtyard, and they had us go inside behind the wall and pause there to rest. And I think we had 2 or 3 moments like that where we stopped behind a building or a wall to rest. And this one had all of the medical supplies in the medical bag. And so we started loading up, like, all the useful stuff there. Yeah, like, there was a lot of medicine, a lot of, like, adrenaline and painkillers and stuff like that, and a lot of IV kits and IV bags. And so that was really good. And I think all of that stuff ended up getting stolen from us later anyway. But we loaded it up. And I didn't like the bag because it was bright red and it had reflective material on it. And I was like, this is dumb. I don't want to be the one to carry this bag, which is, like, selfish. But I'm like, you know... it wasn't my decision to take this bag. I don't want to be the one to carry the shoot me bag, the sniper magnet. And then, but I helped load it up. I helped find all the useful medical stuff that was in that pile of, like, stuff. and it looked like ISIS had like just been there and dumped all of their shit and taken whatever they just needed and ran. The guy, I remember hearing a weird noise, and it turned out to be a squawking chicken inside the building. One guy found a chicken, and he took it, and I never saw it again, so I just assumed they ate it.
They had two of them. Two guys came out, and I wondered what those sounds were.
Yeah.
I had never heard a chicken make that kind of noise. But
yeah.
That, my feeling was kind of similar to yours when we got to that place. The way everything was strewn around, and there were some quite valuable things like the medical equipment, really gave me the sense that we were right behind them.
Yeah.
That they had only just left.
Yeah. And I was worried about traps too. Like there was a truck and motorcycles in that courtyard, and there was like wires coming out of like the radio area of the truck, but the radio was there, and I was like, and then the custody guys just dive in there and start tearing everything apart, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over here, like away, and I was worried, like that everything's a bomb, and then we left. And the whole time I'm like drinking water bottles and trying to load my pocket with our water bottles in my backpack. And I remember I'm not really stressed out about food because they're bringing us food, but I was stressed out about water. And I wanted to balance like coffee and water intake because I had all this instant coffee packets. And so I was drinking water, drinking coffee, and we kept walking down the road. We stopped at another place. We kept going that direction. Now we were at like we turned left again, but not like 45 degrees, more like at an angle. Not 90 degrees, but more like 45 degrees, And we stopped at another building, and we went up on the roof. And I remember thinking, like, this is a really cool roof if this is where we're staying to have a sniper position. Because there was a really interesting formation on top of the roof that would be good to hide in, to shoot from. Because it was like a top platform and like a huge dip for the water box on the roof. And flat all around that so I could see, but I could stay low, but we didn't stay there. We were only there for like a few minutes, and then we left. And we went right behind the killdozer now. We were like right up against it. Yeah. And they were dropping off people at different buildings and like, okay, this is your new Nocta, this is your new Nocta. And we were like, okay, we want to get closer though. We want to be like right in front of the enemy. Let's keep going forward. And they took us to one place, and that whole place was like really fucked up, where like an airstrike had hit that courtyard in front of the gate, and there was like a big crater and everything was all rubble. And we were like being really careful about where to step. And then definitely a dead body somewhere around there, like a burning body that we could smell.
The smell of it,
and first we were all like, wow, that's a burning body. And then like we started making jokes to like be cool about it. Like, oh, it's kebab, it smells like Syrian barbecue. It's a shawarma, like, and but I don't think the local guys thought it was very funny, but it like try to lighten the mood. And then we kept going forward from there, and now we had gone like first building was like on the right side of the front. We had turned at a right angle now, and we continued going down the line, and then they put us on another building. And we spent the night there, and the next day it was very boring, and that roof had like no cover in the direction of the enemy, but the enemy was also really far away, and we were like at the corner of the right angle. So like we had gone up and turned the right angle, but we were right at the corner where the river was close, and the river was like right there.
Really? Because I don't remember this. I thought the place we went to was the drone.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That is the drone one.
Yeah, there was like, I had like a field in front of me with like friends on a little bit forward of us on the left side, and on the right side they were right next to us, and there was like an orchard of trees that I couldn't see anything in front of their building, but I had a big open space in front of our building, and there were buildings right next to the water, but it was like right there, like it was like just a few hundred meters in front of us. In the previous place it had been like 500 meters to the water and another 500 to the enemy, and then beyond that, beyond the water, it was like really far, and I couldn't see anything really. And then at one point during the day, we saw a motorcycle. The friends took a rocket or a mortar hit. Like, we heard an explosion over there, and we were like, oh, what was that?
You mean the shooting into the orchard that time when...
Yeah, and we all just...
Yeah, everyone.
Well, yeah, we all started shooting into the orchard. I couldn't see anything, so I was watching the tracers from the Bixie, and I was shooting with the sniper rifle, like, as best I could where the tracers were hitting. And then I fired a few rounds into the holes into the windows of the buildings against the water in case anybody had like snuck up along the bank where it was sloped down. And that night on security, before that day, the night that we got there, when I was on security, they were telling me, watch this little building right in front of our building because nobody's cleared that room. So the whole night I was just like staring at it the whole shift. I was on security. And I heard a noise, you know, and I like turn off the safety and I'm like looking and there was nothing. It was probably...
See, I don't remember that. Dad told us that. Or maybe I didn't hear it.
Maybe, yeah, like, you know, I tell the next person on the shift and maybe they don't tell the next person. And
or it could have been that you did tell me and I just don't remember it. You know.
And then after that, we heard explosions and fighting, lots of airstrikes to our right. So me and Zaffer started watching with the scope and the rangefinder to see if any enemies would pop up to the left side of where our friends were. And he said, between these two palm trees, you can shoot because that's where the enemy is. And I got up on the roof and we saw one figure on a building that had some like sandbags up on there. Mm-hmm. And he was like, that's definitely where the enemies are, so you can shoot at that guy. And I was taking a long time aiming, and I think he got down before I shot. But after I shot, nobody went back up there. Because I was also hesitant, because I was like, maybe the friends moved forward and we didn't hear about it yet, and I don't want to shoot a friend.
And those sorts of things did happen.
Yeah, so I was like...
probably good thinking.
Yeah, so like I waited, and then... and it was hard to see too, because you can see better with the scope or with the rangefinder than you can with the scope. The scope is like not as good. So I took one shot that day, and then we got shot at from there. Like while me and Zaffer were up there, rounds went over us on the roof. And then we came back down after a while. We stayed up there for a few more minutes, and I was like, yeah, they're shooting high. I don't care. I was like, I want to shoot someone more than I care about being shot right now. So I was waiting, and I didn't see anything, so we came back down. And then I started hearing that mosquito sound, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I could see this skinny little drone with 4 propellers floating around, like going really fast above us.
And everyone's out there looking at it.
And we're all just like, oh, what's that? Yeah, and like, and the locals were like, oh, it's friends. And I was like, I don't know, man. And then I started recording with my phone, and I couldn't see it very well. And then it went away. So I turned off my phone, and then I heard it. So I turned on my phone again. And right when I spotted it with the phone, I got the video of it dive bombing into the roof of our friends next door to us and exploding. And you can see the 4 or 5 of them on the roof running away. Yeah. And they got down. Nobody got hurt. But it was a big fireball on top of the roof. So, you know, that was like really freaky. And then, you know, I was getting really impatient and Zaffer was getting really impatient. Like, you know, all we're doing here is getting bombed and shot at. I want to move to a place where we can shoot them. We're still too far away where we can't like kill the enemy effectively, and you know, I want to do my job. So we started getting crazy and like, you know, if you don't take us to the front, we're gonna walk. Like, you know, me and Zaffer started talking about just like packing our shit and walking towards the enemy until we get shot at, and then having a good fight. And
because we thought we could get to that other building about 500 meters in front of us, where that mortar crew was.
Yeah.
We thought that's where the action was.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that whole day was just like a lot of airstrikes and the drone. And then finally, they were telling us, oh, okay, we're gonna move when the sun goes down, and we were like, okay.
Hang on. Now, there was something else. Can I check the recording? Because Debar told me, and I had no memory of this. Hang on.
Oh yeah, there was that one like incident, right?
You mean with the civilians?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and just let me make sure that this is recorded.